So how has that been with working with the existing community leaders that are in place now that you're doing this grassroots work and you're bringing additional resources and things to the table?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the first things, even if you, let's say you don't like the person or you do like the person, you're going to have to work with them in some type of capacity, especially when we're talking about grassroots work. A lot of the leaders, when I came back and started this work, became elected officials, or they're on the C-suite executive level. And, now that I'm in that realm of, being a director, an executive, a founder, or a president, um, being able to have those conversations, having a seat at the table and building things from the ground up. I think one of the major things is having our community co-design. I like to use the word co-design a lot of the work that we do, because a lot of things are building. We see it all over New York City, and community don't really have a say in what's being built. So being that bridge from the voices that can be heard on the higher level, and we're talking about making sure that we bring the message to our elected officials and holding them accountable, our execs, our C-suites, and these corporations and organizations that do a lot of good work on the community but are not hearing the voiceless. My job is to make sure their voices are heard, and that they're co-designing with community members, building, because things are already built. We can't do anything about the things that are built and haven't had any say with community in mind, but we can now change the narrative with the things that are coming in, and now that I'm in a position to do so.
Yeah. I like it, man. Yeah, no.
Okay, thanks. So Jared mentioned, like, what was the challenges, but I would love to know, like, what was that moment that like really put the battery in your back to, like, right? Because the first time is like, okay, like I can do this, but what was that moment? Was like, all right, I can do this. Let's make this an organization. Like, let's get this ball rolling. Let's start pulling pieces in to like make things shake.
Yeah. So see, I have so many of those moments, right? And the reason why is because I have Far Rock Greek Council, I have Rock the Block Foundation, I have the Bridge Family Richmond Center. So I had moments like that in each of those areas, right? So Far Rock Greek Council, I will never forget, 11 of us met at Applebee's to start, just to come together as Greeks from Far Rock to create something that we thought was just fellowshipping. And it became more than that, right? It became Far Rock NPHC, and then we opened it up to Latino and Latina fraternity and sororities, Malik fraternities, Group 5 groups, like multicultural fraternity and sororities, and it became Far Rock Greek Council. So in that moment, I was like, wow, we went from 11 people to 65 members, and our events having hundreds of people come out. And Rock the Block Foundation, we just hosted our annual Rock the Block Fun Day 5. It was HBCU homecoming theme. We had the most ever of 1,000 people attended. We packed out the YMCA's, Rockaway YMCA's field, and we had Lauren LaRosa hosting, Benton Jefferson hosting, and we had Honey Baby performing, for our community. We're talking about are coming to the Rockaways, and that's impact. You know what I mean? That's something that has never been done before. Being able to showcase this to the youth, like it can be done. And I'm not somebody that has any large funding, but we're building connections at a grassroots level. And I know we had a section where we had advice for the next generation, but something I really want to just segue into really quick, as it ties everything in. There's a saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But in fact, it is what you know, it is who you know, but it's also, more importantly, how they know you. And the reason why I say how they know you, because a lot of the work that I've done and the funding or the sponsorships or the village and support that we're receiving across all of my organizations is because people know me and the work that I've done, built that relationship, built that trust, and be able to, bring them on a large scale. And then just to end off with the Bridge Family Richmond Center, when I cut that ribbon, on the grand opening for a 5,000 square feet space, that has, a dance studio, a multi-purpose room, a boutique room, a washer and dryer room, a pantry, a full kitchen, a computer conference room, game room, and an audiovisual studio, all for free for community. So cutting that ribbon on that space was definitely, putting the battery in my back in regards to, like, if I can do this, so many other people can do this behind me, and I'm looking to spread that knowledge for sure.
You gotta listen to him. You learn something.
That's a fact. You gotta listen. You learn something. You know what I'm saying? So we got a couple comments. We don't want to ignore the comments. I
Yes,
think
sir.
your uncle was in the comments. He said, "Proud of you, nephew, for what you do. Continue to do what you do for the community." You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of positive comments saying, you know, they're proud of you. You know, you the GOAT. You know, continue to do the work that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, always remember, we appreciate you guys tuning in to Instagram. But if you want your comments shown on the screen, please go to our YouTube channel. If you comment there on YouTube, like you've seen us do multiple times on the show already, we will put your comment up on the screen as such. All right. So if you want your comment displayed on the screen so that the guests can actually see it, please go to our YouTube channel.
And it lives on the show forever.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Curtis, you know, a lot of the grassroots work that our ancestors have done to pave the way for us, they understood that they might not see the change in their lifetime. Now that we're in a day and age where information is so freely, readily available, right? Technology is moving at the speed of, speed of light. Everything's moving so fast. Now, what you're doing the work back within the community, do you actually see people resonating, taking the work and actually coming now to say, listen, I want to do a thing. I want to sign up for this. Like, what is now the community's reaction to what you're doing? Do you see like a positive uptake and participation and things of that nature? Like, what is that like now?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely a positive intake, and it's because of me being the person that I am, me being that person that came from Rockaway, has done it and has seen it. Folks believe in that message. You know, they come to me and they say, "Hey, we've seen you do it, Curtis. I want to follow in your footsteps." And you know, one thing I can say though is that we don't have enough youth though. You know, we don't have enough youth stepping up, and you know, it's a mixture of different things, right? And I think it's not necessarily a touchy subject, but it's a conversation that needs to be had with a lot of community leaders. Is that we need to find a way to get to them. You know, we have a lot of people that are dying to gun violence and gang violence at such a young age, and you know, the work that's being done, we're transforming lives, but there's still lives being lost at the same token. So we need to be able to reach the masses, not only in Queens and Far Rockaway, but New York City at large.